here on Wednesday, July 19. We will be meeting as the Lincoln County Board of Equalization, and I will call this meeting to order. We will reconvene from our work yesterday. This is an open meeting. We will be abiding by the Open Meetings Act as amended, a copy of which is the entrance to this room. Present in the room here with me this morning are Commissioners Weems and Wooler. Commissioner Hughley will be joining us shortly. I am Commissioner Woodruff, Chairman of the Board. Also present is Deputy County Assessor, County Clerk. Done that a couple of times, haven't I? Melissa Wilson. We also have County Assessor Julie Stinger, and from her office we have Charity Farley, Ashley Richulo, and Henry Voigt. Also in the room is our board assistant helping with the recording and the streaming, Tammy White. First off this morning, we have a personal protest from Marvin Nasiba. Marvin, please come up and have a seat if you would, please.
That's the hot seat, huh?
Yeah, that's the hot seat, but the ladies there will, they don't bite. There's other people that have made it in and out of that without drawing blood. Sign in, please. It is, I will need to read in your protest information, and then we will proceed with your comments, sir. This is protest 128, Marvin Nasiba, 13644 West North River Road, North Platte. The property identification number is 104440. This is described as the west 313.08 feet of north, 417.4 feet of the east, 417.44 of the northeast quarter of 1-14-32, 3 acres. Marvin is protesting the valuation of $257,033, requesting $218,537. The reason for the requested change is change in the surrounding area around home. Okay, Marvin, it has been customary for us to allow 15 minutes for your comments and your reasoning for the...
Is there any extension to that if I get carried away?
We'll have to discuss that at the time. But no, we have been granting 15 minutes, and I would certainly invite you to address us. 904, Commissioner Hughley has joined us. I said it.
Say 903, it sounds better.
Okay, 903. So I said you'd be here shortly, and you were. Thank you. So go ahead, Marvin,
Do
please.
I need to stand up or?
No, you're fine. Just be comfortable.
All right. First off, I think most of you know who I am.
Yep.
And I think, is there anybody here that doesn't know anything about a cow-calf operation? About a feedlot? Anybody been around a feedlot?
We have a cow-calf operation.
Yeah, but around feedlots?
I have been in the largest. I have been in the largest feedlots in the United States,
There you
Canada, and 2 of them in South Africa.
South Africa, okay. Well, back in 2014, I bought this home, and it was a crap hole. It was a foreclosure, and I bought this house to fix it up for my retirement, which I did.
Uh-huh.
And in 2014, I replaced everything, built on, added on, refinanced twice. I got the home of my dreams. Finished it in 2018. I still got a dirt floor in the garage, but I did all these refinances that just kept moving up and up and up. And then in 2018, my neighbor decided that his son-in-law was going to run a cow-calf operation around my house. So I sent you some pictures.
Yes, and I've got those here in front of me,
Okay,
and a water hole.
oh, yeah, yeah, but if you look at the square there, the red square, that's my place. Now, that lane to the right of it, and everything down below it, that is all cow-calf operation, okay? And
Yeah.
it started out with, 100 head, 150. Now it's 400 head stuffed in there. And even I don't remember the guy's name from, anyway, the government, he came out and had a talk with Henry and told him that you got too many cows for this area. And of course, that sparked a lot of who said this, who called this and that. And he's not very happy with me. And I've been trying to work with him to keep the cows off my side of my fence. And I don't know if there's any laws for this, to keep it, keep a cow-calf operation away from my family dwelling, my home. So in the process, now he's got 400 cows in there, and he feeds there in the wintertime, he calves there in the wintertime, he weans them there. You know what happens with all this, Jerry, you know. When they start weaning, and then they bay all night long, it's cold, and then they got their, and then he brands there. And then he's got dung, it's everywhere, oh Lord. I got pictures on my phone, I didn't get them sent to you, I apologize. But I have fly traps set up everywhere. Can I pass this around, everybody look at it, or?
Yeah, we can look at it.
Here, just slide through them. We have flies so bad right now that you cannot sit on my front porch. And those bags are full of dead flies. And we have 5 of them on my front porch. 5. And you can kind of sit out there a little bit, but they're horrible. And you know what I'm talking about. I think everybody does. So my only reprieve is in the summertime, like right now, he runs his cows up in the hills. So you have it quiet. But he still leaves the dung behind. And much rain as we've had, man, the flies are hideous. They're horrible. So I can't even get outside. And the skeeters, that just comes naturally, Every time they do the haying out there and they knock the hay down, all the skeeters gotta go somewhere, so they come to our house. So probably,
Marvin, just let me ask you a quick question. This picture you've shown us here.
Yes.
You got some green grass, that's your property line, this fence?
yeah, where the green grass is,
That's the property line,
yes.
okay?
And he's right on the back side of it, and he feeds right there. And all that runs right down into that water hole. And even in the wintertime, when it thaws out, oh Lord, it's just the smell. And you can drive by a feedlot over here on Highway 30, and you don't dare roll your window down. I have that 24/7 almost. And I'm just, I just don't think I could even sell my house for what you're appraising it for, or the 257. I don't know anybody, even in here with a show of hands, would you spend $260,000 on a house that lives between, a cow-calf operation? Thank you. So, I don't know, Jerry, I just don't know where I'm at with this, because I'm fighting with him all the time.
Margaret, Mr. Naceba, are you on the south side of North River?
Yes. I've got pavement on the front of me over here, which the pavement, I think we've talked, the pavement's horrible. The ditch that runs beside it, it's all undercutting it, and it's just flopping down like this. But I don't care about the pavement, I'm caring about what's going on in here right now. But, I took a dream home, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a beautiful home. It is. If I didn't have the cows around me, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't even be talking. But I kinda live, pardon French, in kind of a shithole. I really do. And it's ongoing and ongoing, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The person that owns those cows, does he own that property just south of you?
No, he does not.
He rents it.
He rents it from John McNeil. And that's his son-in-law. So, right now, I'm just kinda, I'm fighting, trying to keep his cows off my fence. I'm trying to save my property, I'm not getting any more money. Like I told you, I'm disabled, I'm on disability. I can't make any more money, and So now with the 40,000 added on, I don't know what that's, maybe you can compute it, but I make a $1,400 house payment now. You know, that's probably gonna bump up to probably $2,000, I'm just guessing. I don't know how you all compute that,
Yeah.
but.
Henry, you previewed this. Joe, make a comment.
I was gonna try to address it. You're saying you make a $1,400 house payment now,
Yes, sir.
and that would probably bump up to what, maybe 2,000? I don't understand your house payment with the tax on your home. I mean, how would your house payment bump up?
They escrow for taxes.
They escrow
Escrow.
taxes.
Oh, you mean escrow for tax? Oh,
Yeah.
for taxes, not your house payment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I understand. Thank you.
All together, I'm sorry.
Okay, got you.
Okay, and, no, Ashley, you reviewed this, did you not? Okay.
Yes.
Henry, I would like, you do quite a little bit of rural appraising as well. I'd like to have you comment as well, but Ashley, tell us what you're able and capable of doing with state statutes.
As far as state statutes go, all we did was we were out of ratio with state ratios, so we updated the costing. I did talk to them. It's really hard to make an adjustment for being by a feedlot, cause you don't know where to draw the line. And I talked with Henry and Charity, you know, do we go a half mile out, do we go a mile out, then, you know, where that line is, you know, is that person gonna come in and complain, then we have to go farther out? You know, do we have to do it on, you know, all cow-calf operations? It's very hard to make an adjustment just for that. And I mean, and I feel I wouldn't wanna buy a house there, I mean, honestly, but it's just really hard to make that type of adjustment, cause you don't know how far to go out.
Okay?
Can I respond to that, please?
Yes,
We talked and we worked
Yes.
together, and this, I forgot.
Henry.
Henry.
We worked together back there, and we were on computer and stuff trying to find a comparable. And we did not find a comparable. The only thing you could find was a house beside one, but the people that, they lived there, they owned it. They owned the cow-calf operation or the feedlot. So there's no homes around a feedlot that they don't own. I mean, they did it on purpose. So we couldn't find one, remember?
We did find one,
Well,
and it's the one.
are
that's
we
listed
talking
right
feedlot, we talking cow for operation, two different things?
Well, that's
Number
feedlot.
one, are we talking
So-
about, we just had one, so I was gonna try to bring this up. Remember the stars?
Eisenhower's.
Eisenhower's.
But out by the stars, okay.
They
Did we,
live there and they
now.
bought
That's
it.
Baldwin's.
They bought it knowing the feedlot was there.
oh, I see what you're saying, so
They
we're
did
saying
buy
that's,
one.
We had
okay.
one house that was listed
Oh, okay,
for way more
Gotcha.
than what we have on right by.
But Henry, to Joe's point, do they have a license for
Capel?
concentrated
And
feeding?
it depends on the size.
Well, I know it does, but-
1,000 and over, I know you
You
have
can
to
only,
have
you can only be
certain
180
restrictions.
contiguous days with so many head of
Yeah.
cattle.
Yeah.
And then 1,000
Because-
and under.
Because
you
I
have to
live,
have them off, the way I understand it, and that was from working with Gotch's when they had theirs out south there, where they backgrounded their cattle. They had to have them off by May 1, and they couldn't bring them back till October 1st.
right, because
And they
I,
had to let the vegetation grow up,
that's my point, because where I live, we used to feed cattle.
right.
And now we don't, and I didn't get the permits, I didn't grandfather the permits, but
Right.
I've got 55,000 head within a mile and a half of me, 2
Mhm.
miles.
Yep.
And I protested their lateral move, but planning and zoning allows it,
Mhm.
so they got even closer to my property and impacted my property values, but that is a licensed
That is,
confined operation, so if this is not,
yeah, now
it looks glaringly
I
like
know
a
they look at.
zoning violation.
Because they look at them for waste and how they handle their waste materials.
So Judy Clark should be involved in this conversation, as far as seeking relief.
Also, though, when he said 1,000 head, I talked to the EPA guy up here and from the government, that's what I don't remember his name. And he told me you can only have so many head per acre. And with the acreage that he has out there, he stuffs them in there and he's overabundant. He said on the GIS system, he's got a camera, he went down there and personally counted the cows. And there was well over 400 in this small area. You know, and he feeds what, 3 times a day, don't you feed? I think it is.
Twice, well, we do
It depends
twice,
on-
it depends,
Depends on your weather.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, yeah,
cow-calf usually
so
once
it-
a
I
day,
mean-
feedlot maybe twice.
Did you guys, did you hear it on here? I mean, it's terrible.
Well, Mike, again, what I don't know is, it doesn't sound like he's got any kind of a permit for this, so.
Actually, Kent, I was pulling some of those last night, because we found that, there's some feedlots expanding, and I was pulling permits to find out how many they're permitted for.
Right.
I didn't look at this one, I just started last night, just before it closed, so.
That's what I'm getting. I hate to jump in
I'd
like that.
have to look through there and see if he's got any permits
I can't get a foot.
or anything.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, there should be some relief to the confined numbers, or concentrated numbers.
And yeah, and that,
And I don't know if
you know,
that's
I don't know
through,
exactly how many, like I say, if they.
I don't know if it's
put so
through,
many,
yeah.
Or if it's just that May 1, October 1 thing.
Does he
Put
feed
as
them
many
to the east? You know, I mean, this to me almost looks like it's,
No, that's not his, that's Alan Reese's on the right.
so what are they doing over there? Are they feeding cattle too?
Yeah, but he doesn't feed out there though. He goes down, he's what we call the old house, and he feeds down there, and that's where he does his branding.
Because this
Well,
imagery
Bear
here is
Grylls, he
two
doesn't feed.
2014 imagery. This is the year you purchased it, and you say they weren't feeding cattle at the time
No,
you purchased
no,
it?
Alan was using it for a little bit, just the corrals, because there's some pretty nice corrals there. This is the old McNeil place. If anybody's familiar with Barb and Carol McNeil.
Yeah.
And that's the place, and they were, brothers worked there, and they had their little cow-calf operation.
Julie, how is that area zoned?
For sure. Probably, you go to the zoning tab. Yeah, ag.
Well, it appears to me as though what we have here is there's 2 different issues. One is the valuation of your property as it sits, and then the other issue is what is happening at the neighbor's place that may or may not be in violation of codes and permits. What our folks are doing here is they are following state statutes with this valuation. And I think, from what I can gather from you, if that cattle issue right next door wasn't there, this would be quite all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem, I wouldn't be sitting there.
So we've got 2 different issues, it looks to me like. We need to probably find out if these folks have a permit.
Let me go pull that list.
If you would, please,
See if I can find it.
we'll take a few extra minutes here on your time, Marvin,
Okay.
just because
Well, I think a lot of the deal too is, Henry, who is doing this, I think he's trying to push me out along with it. I think that he wants all that because he's got everything out there. When Mr. John McNeil goes away, Henry gets it all, everything, including his brother's land. So I think he's trying to push me out, and I'm trying to get along with him, but
now, is your house the one that Marvin lived in or the one that Carol had?
Carol.
Okay, you're on the south side of the road.
Yes.
Yes, okay. And Marvin's was just to the west.
Yeah, and that's where John lives now.
And Sanders got the A-frame on down the road, right?
No, he sold that and he lives over on the river now. He's got some excretion land and a nice place over there.
Okay. Well, it looks to me like,
Can you show the other pictures up here? I mean, I know they're looking around here, but of the actual water holes and stuff.
We passed it, your
We
your
passed it,
actual
but-
photos
yeah,
around,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those are, there's clay in there and they don't ever go away hardly.
And that's an ideal breeding ground for mosquitoes because they like still water.
Flies
Right.
because of the dung.
I am glad that Kent brought up the permitting, because I know in the short time I've been here, we've had a couple come across our desk. There's a operation out on South Game Trail Road, I believe, who came in went through the process of requesting a permit to expand their numbers. So I know there's a process for that. And that would start over, like they said, with Judy Clark's office in planning and zoning. So have you
Okay.
had any conversations with Judy over
No, I have
in her
not. I did
office?
that, got EPA guy.
Okay, now,
But the thing is, I'm gonna kinda stick my neck out here a little bit. It sounds to me like everything's gonna stay the same. And what we wanna do is change the guy beside me to get a permit. And that's not gonna change anything for me,
Well, he
not a
would,
bit.
I mean, it is a different topic totally from this. We can't change what's going on there with this board, but I can tell you that just simply going and getting a permit's not as easy as it sounds. Because I
Well-
couldn't go back and get a permit
Okay.
for my feed yard today without going through a whole bunch of hoops, presenting a comprehensive plan on runoff, nitrate, monitoring, and the whole 9 yards. There's a myriad of things you have to do to
That
get.
killed all my trees.
That's,
And I might
but
have-
I'm telling you that
Mhm.
they can't just snap their fingers and get a confined feeding operation permit. It's not that easy, very, very difficult.
But, you know, and also this being said, if I lived on, let's say, West 18th Street, all the trailer houses and everything else, but a nice house in there, you would look at the surrounding areas.
Actually, Marvin,
You know?
we've had many people come before us with not pictures of their property, but pictures of their junked up neighbor's property with trash and rodents and we were unable, because of the statutes that we follow, we're unable to lower the value of their property because they have humans behaving badly next door to them, unfortunately.
That's the ones you need to tax.
We-
It is.
we wish we
Really is.
could.
I don't disagree with that, but we follow
But-
state statute.
So if nothing's gonna change and I'm gonna be stuck with the 40,000, why can't we do like, if I go to the hospital and I'm sick and I can't afford to make the payment, you put it on a payment plan? Why don't you ding me $10,000 every year till I hit the 40? Instead of something I can plan for, instead of wham, here it is.
So Julie, $40,000 increase at today's levy, approximately how much does that add a
Now,
year?
some of these are for septic systems, just on normal
But
houses.
do
I mean,
did
this
you-
is,
Did you search this property?
no, it's in here some, I didn't know what name to look for.
what is the name of the folks that have the cattle next to you?
Henry Obermeyer,
Actually, who owns whose name's on the property?
John McNeil.
John McNeil.
McNeil,
He'd have to have the permit in his name, right?
well, or, I don't know if it'd be under an
You
LLC
know what's gonna
or,
happen with this?
you know, some of them
Henry's
come
gonna get a
in.
phone call and I'm gonna be mud. And he'll push all of his feeding operation right against my fence.
I mean, there's
I will
340 of
say,
them.
I live in the country, we have a cow-calf operation.
It's a feedlot, man.
Let me take the
Really?
number and see if,
So
I
we
might be able
feed,
to
when
pull
we
it up. I
wean,
haven't got-
we feed in our
I can
corrals.
get online.
We don't have
and see if
people
I can-
living,
Oh,
you know,
there's something
right
up there.
next to us. But I'm sure it does impact the surrounding people for a
No,
short
about the
period of
permit,
time.
no.
Your situation sounds a little different, but Nebraska is an agricultural state. And
That's
I
like
feel like we need to protect that
No,
also.
that's Dave.
I personally feel like if you go to Judy Clark and start there, you might have more
Yeah, they don't
room
have
for
mountains. I noticed that.
having something done to at least reduce the numbers.
Judy
I
Clark.
mean,
She is our planning and zoning administrator for both the city and the county.
She has offices over at the city offices, back behind the jail.
The west end of City Hall.
So they are the ones that monitor and enforce codes and
Those-
planning and zoning permits.
I'm probably running out of time, but, so what you're saying is I'm probably gonna end up stuck with this, but I'm still telling you, I can't sell my house for $257,000.
Well,
So at the
Can I-
$40,000
Yeah.
increase at today's levy, that adds how much to
About
his?
$694,
So that puts me at $2,000.
$194, and if you divide that by the
That's my
12.
Well, that's
retirement home,
aggregate,
and I'm
right?
gonna end up selling it.
Yes.
That adds about $58 a month.
$58 a month, assuming the same levy.
Assuming the same levy, and that's before any tax credits are given.
Oh, that's
to
for a
the-
year?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds a lot better.
I do want
Yeah.
to kind of point out another thing.
Raising the value of the house, whatever it is, doesn't mean gonna raising taxes
If
one
our
to
levy
one,
was
it's,
dropped,
It's
correct.
our goal to lower the levy again this year,
Mm-hmm.
which will help lower that slight
Yes.
increase.
Also to let you know, this one's that's just straight west of town, that in the red, they were in earlier complaining of the same issue, that is a feedlot there as well, that sets to the right of them to the east.
Where's that at?
It's out on West Highway 30
Oh, I
on the
know
north
where
side.
that's at.
On
It's
the
on
north side.
Splinter.
Road.
It's on
Birdwood.
Splinter Road,
Birdwood.
yeah.
So, and we were unable to make any adjustments to them as well. This property here is, this one that just sold.
In 21.
This one sold in 2021, that close. In 2021, we had it valued at 93,000, and it sold for 153,000. That close to the feedlot. So,
Well, I understand that, but, they only got one side. I got it all around me. You know, it's,
We found Henry Obermeyer on the list.
Do you? He has a permit?
I would assume that he has a permit if it's on the list.
I think the
I mean, I
EPA
haven't
guy
pulled
said he
it
had
up.
to get a permit.
How many headed for, I have.
And that may be your next recourse, Marvin, is to work with EPA and the planning administrator to see what avenues you have available to you to regulate or govern what they're doing. But as far as evaluation, we can't take, we
I'm
can't.
not gonna probably go that route because I gotta live with this guy. I'm trying to keep amends with him to where I can keep it halfway off my fence. But you know, they tear the fence down, I got cows running through my yard.
There's gotta
You
be
know
a
what they tell me?
recourse for that.
Oh, I will charge you for the fertilizer, that's what they tell me.
Sharon said she found, Alan Reese.
Is that the other?
Yeah, he's my
one?
neighbor, Alan.
Yeah, he's on the list.
He's on the list too.
I mean, if it
That-
were me, if my neighbor's cattle were constantly in, not just my pasture, but up in my yard doing damage, I'd report that to the sheriff's office and start a log.
There's another little hitch to that. You know who John McNeil is?
Yes, I do.
You know who the sheriff is?
Yes, I do.
And there's something, they're related, imagine that. Yeah,
I don't know that that would make a difference.
yeah, they come out all the time, shoot fireworks, drink beer.
Okay.
So I'm kinda,
Charity, the tough thing for us is we don't have enough sales that indicates there should be. That's kind of what we run into.
The bottom
and that's what we discussed last time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
and that's our tough part.
Yeah, it's difficult, and they have to follow the state statutes and the guidelines set down, and unfortunately, Marvin, we can't make any adjustment to that, unfortunately.
You
Sorry.
can't even keep the 40,000, but give me 20 this year and 20 next year? And I can kinda plan for it a little bit?
Well, that would be arbitrary and capricious, and we're the Board of Equalization, not of arbitrary and capricious activity.
if we did that with everybody, we wouldn't be in compliance, you know what I mean? We had to raise our
And
value.
Well,
then,
we're
and
not
then the
broke.
folks from
We're not
Lincoln,
broke, are we?
well, no, we're not
Yeah.
broke, but we wanna keep from not being.
Is that gonna fix the highway?
By the way, that is on the 1 and 6 year road plan, and we have talks already in progress from the road committee.
On North River Road?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are on,
And they're running a lot of semis, a lot of cows up and down that thing.
Yeah, it needs some work, and it is on our radar, certainly. So, we have exceeded our time limit by 10 minutes, but that's quite all right, because we had some good discussion, Marvin, and unfortunately, it doesn't ease your pain,
No, it doesn't.
and I feel for you,
Well,
but,
like I said, Jerry, I'm not disputing my house isn't worth that. I'm not disputing, I think it's probably worth more than that. If you could just get the cows off my, oh, I tried to buy the land too, and that didn't work. So I get them away from me.
yeah.
I would think there'd be a law out there somewhere, you can't put a cow operation right against your fence.
do you suppose that place was there long before the land around it was subdivided and sold off into small pieces for homes?
Well, it was through the McNeil family and how
Right.
they each did things in McNeil's, you know, then they got in a big fight, and then they didn't like each other anymore.
Okay,
So,
well,
thank you for your time.
thank you for coming in, sir.
Yeah.
Since we've already acted on this, We don't have to do anything further, do we? Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thanks for listening.
You betcha. Okay, I had a unanimous vote yesterday that the first one today would be yours.
Oh, really?
Now, imagine how that came about.
Probably payback, but I don't blame you. I'll go with it.
Okay, so if you don't mind, we'll have you,
Let's do it.
okay.
Protest 505. The ID of the property is 36757.37. 36757.37. Petitioner is Mike Works. It's also further, the property is further described as Sand Hills Mixed Use Subdivision, part of Lot 10, Unit 1, 6.2 acres, and indicates a physical address of 1001 South Dewey. Protested value is $544,664 on land. Buildings at $7,721,288 for a total value of $8,265,952. They're requesting reduction in land or buildings only. Land would remain on their petition at $544,664. Buildings would be reduced to $2,585,876 for a total of $3,130,540. Please see the attached protest letter.
That's not the same one we did yesterday because there's a big drop, so which, is this the other half of it, right? We did the north half, this is south half.
No, we didn't do the north half at all, they didn't protest
No.
that. This is just where Dunham's, Ashley Furniture, and the theater are.
Well, what part did I did that was started out at 8
That's where
million?
the tire place, where
Yeah.
Nebraska Tire was, is what
To
we
the
did
west of it, a
yesterday.
little piece to the west.
Okay,
Those are just vacant lots, they were small enough.
Yeah, this is the south half of the mall.
yeah, I got it, but we didn't do any other part with the mall.
No,
No.
they
What
only
am I
protested
dreaming?
those two vacant lots and this, all they protested.
Because I remember seeing that, maybe I didn't get to it or something because that was on my.
This
Thank
is-
you,
This is Rev Development,
yes.
is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And they have a myriad of pages, well, not a myriad, actually a couple, 3 pages, comparing them to Hilltop Mall and Kearney, and quoting square footage values. And Charity and Henry Burke worked on this together. So Charity, can you recap? You did a note say that you did actually give them very significant relief based on the income approach. So you want to expound upon
We
that?
just used the values that they gave us in that letter to
Mhm.
develop the income approach. And that's the value that comes out when you run that.
When you run your, and it's a dedicated, we've discussed this on the record, it's a dedicated, structured system, formula.
Right.
So the comments are, develop the income approach to value for 2023 for Unit 1, as you've seen.
And they didn't give 3 or 4 different ways they could do it and the values on each one of those?
They,
I don't know that they did.
They really
several.
didn't do
I think
income
all they
approach.
did was just
Just the others that
what they
way.
did
Okay,
was, they compared themselves to
right.
Kearney,
There's like
Hilltop,
4 or 5 of them on that little sheet.
and actually Homes, oh, well, they've broken it down, cap rate, well, they did show you cap rate
Yeah.
numbers. So I stand
They
corrected.
only did the one approach. They didn't do-
Okay,
The only thing I wanna mention is during, talks with them and what their plans were for all those lots and what have you. They did send me, I didn't put it with all your stuff, but they did send me a spreadsheet of what they felt, once everything's all done, what everything would be worth. And the south portion, which is Unit 2, I think it's Unit 1 now, because they replatted it a 3rd time. But, what they thought that portion was going to be, that, or, assessed, or not assessed, but worth, was 8.5. That's what I was going off of when I originally did it, and now they're backtracking and saying otherwise. So
And-
I have not had a chance to talk to Mike. I've tried to call a couple of times, never got a response. So I even tried while I was doing the values on the mall and never got a response back. So man must be very busy.
Mr. Works is, and I don't know if you know him, but
I do not.
he's a pretty busy man. However, having said that, they did that on their other properties. They said, oh, I as the managing partner think it should be worth this, let's pay taxes on that. We did not, in most cases, follow that. We followed what we had been doing with all other properties and used the same approach that we did so that we could stay equalized, okay? And so I was curious about your approach on the income approach. We don't have to use the income approach. That, we're supposed to use what's best for the county, you know, highest and best use, right? Now, we have used the income approach many times. That doesn't mean that we need to do that. And what made it even more interesting is what she talked about earlier, says, oh yeah, I think when this thing's up and going, it'll be worth this. You have to stop and think, if you use an income approach on Ashley Furniture, how long could you get in there? Not very often you could, but you had to fight to get in there. They couldn't get the traffic. I mean, that wasn't a typical, so I don't know. I think this needs to have a real good look at it next year when we look at how we value the mall. But, you know, with the other properties, I think it would help us if we were consistent, if we pulled those up and say, okay, what do we do with all these other things? And then that we take one, that's not fair to you really, to come in late and not know this, you know, because you're just your first one. I think that we ought to review the other mall property and say, okay, what did we do there and what was our logic? Because otherwise, I think that sets us up in a bad way if we take one as a sort of, well, we decide on, see what I'm saying?
Sure.
I'd like to look at all of them and compare them as to our thought process.
And be consistent.
Right, so obviously the north half of the mall has very little use right now. And so doing an income approach on that where you have such a high vacancy, it's gonna be so low when it comes to doing an income approach because of that vacancy. Where this is all completely full, I struggle with the 3.2 or wherever we're at,
3.362.
I do, because Dunham's is all brand new, Ashley's is only a few years old, the theater's only a few years old. You know, then you go look at Hilltop Mall, well,
Look how old it
they might have
is.
some build out here and there for new shops, but they don't have complete remodel done or anything like that, like this has. And so that's why Henry and I really struggle with the 3.3. We are giving them the benefit of the doubt, we're super happy that this is
Yes.
happening, we
Yeah.
don't have shopping here, you know? Where do you go to buy clothes? Walmart.
But to,
You
but to
know.
Joe's point though, we can't get out in the weeds if
No,
we're doing it,
no. I mean, we do an income approach on the mall
And that's-
every year for years when it was owned by the
But-
previous owner.
Dial.
Well, and I see Charity's point that the other end, when we looked at it, isn't functional
Right.
and has much income at all and is really difficult to get into. So I do think maybe it is not comparing apples to apples.
No, I wouldn't say so.
So maybe we should
Now
look
that
at
they've
this
gotten to
separate.
that side, you know, we have 2 or 3 shops over there, I don't even know if they're there anymore, I haven't been in the mall for that long.
Okay,
Could-
Charity,
could we pull
we're
up-
talking about the situation for this year. Will this be reevaluated next year?
It probably will be, just for the fact that we have to do that other half. Once all those shops move out into the apartment building, Riddles is gonna be out in that front building that's going up right now. All of it's gonna be relooked at again.
Yeah, and that will give us the opportunity to readjust this if we decide to go with the lower value now, correct?
Right.
what were you gonna say, Joe, about looking at the other?
I was just gonna say it'd be interesting to pull the card that, where Mr. Works said it, the 3 or 4 different values based on this way, this way, this way, and this way, remember? And he said, I think that this was the best value. At the end, he said, I think it should be valued at this
The
as a
only
managing
other
partner.
ones that he did, Joe, were those 2 vacant lots that he was talking about that they couldn't, put drive-throughs for like fast food restaurants. I think the one that
No,
you're
no.
talking about was either Menards or,
Right, but the value on, oh, okay, that may be right, you
yeah,
may
I
be
think that
right.
was Menards.
I thought, you're probably right, thank you.
So should we pull the one that we already did and see where we went with that?
Well, clarify for me, you've done one for,
We did we did on where the old, tire shop was.
Yeah.
Nebraska.
There's
Lines.
two,
They were
there's,
highlighted.
there's two.
Vacant lots is all they were.
oh,
Which those are being replatted into one.
Oh, they are? Okay.
And so
But
that
those-
doesn't
those-
really compare to
so
what we're
we,
doing
so we can't
here.
look back
Okay.
at,
No.
we can't look back at those parcels and see any,
And
And
Charity
next
just-
year, those will be valued a whole lot differently when those are, when
Yes.
that building is
Yeah,
completed.
they're just vacant lots right now. The building went up after the first of the year, so that'll be added after all these, or for 20.
So Charity just confirmed that it's not the same.
Right.
So pulling that probably wouldn't do anything for us.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm good with that.
I'll make a motion and we'll see where it goes, I guess. I'm not sure I'm on board with it either. Anyway. I thought I laid that out, but here it is. Well, I don't need that anyway for this. So let me recap for the record. So in the recommendations from Charity and Henry, using the income approach to value it for 2023, the land would remain at 544,664. The improvements would be valued at $2,818,331. So the total value would be $3,362,995. My motion would be to approve the value reduction based on the income approach that our assessors have evaluated this property with, and also, for the record, note that it is a defined and structured process to calculate numbers for that income approach. That's my motion.
Second,
Hughley?
I want to have some discussion. So this will be reviewed again for next year and probably the year after, once things are up and going. And how would you typically, when this thing is, say, next year or 2 years, fully operational, Charity, of the different ways that we can look at this property, knowing that what they paid for it, knowing the development cost into it, all of those things, how are we going to try to look at valuing this overall?
I would really like to get the income for sure on the apartment building, the retail at the bottom. I would love to do an income approach on that. Very difficult, special building. We don't have any other buildings like that in town, so doing an income approach would make a lot of sense to me. Same with the rest of the mall. I would like to prefer to do it on an income approach, and that's your best indicator of value when it comes to a property that actually has rental income. So
Okay,
that would be what we would prefer, and that's how we used to do it before
Okay.
they bought it, so.
okay, that was the only question that I had.
Okay.
I have a question. Can you reread the original assessed value and the reducted amount?
Yeah, the original, the land was, again, the land is the same on both. What's existing and what's requested, 544,664, and that's also what our appraisers put that value at. The buildings previous were 7,721,288. The reduction on the income approach makes that number 2,818,331. So the aggregate before is 8,265,952. The new aggregate would be 3,362,995.
And just to add, sometimes when a big anchor store comes in, rents change significantly. I know that when Herberger's left and then when J.C. Penney's left, Staples was paying, and I thought it was an exorbitant amount, but, they were paying like $50,000 a month. And then when those two stores left, it was then reduced to $10,000 a month. So sometimes when you have an anchor store in there, then rents for all the other smaller ones end up being significantly higher. So that value could actually be higher eventually.
And
Well-
based on the income approach, in your opinion, that was the best way to do a true valuation on the property?
Well, occupancy is intrinsically a risk with retail
With retail.
properties. That's their Achilles heel. That's why they don't typically, a lot of keen investors, unless they're very deep pocketed, because, it's quite a different game than putting up a steel building and renting it to Dollar General. I mean, that's pretty much a 6% return.
And that's probably why they're going to this, not having the middle aisle down the middle, you know, for people to walk and go to all the different shops. But they're being converted to these open.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
but to that, further to that point, I'm not sure it's our job to worry about that. They've got a value on that property that's, should be, to Joe's point, should be a consistent, formula. I don't know if I'm totally on board with
And
that.
the
but-
Hilltop Mall, that one is, I think that portion that they're talking about, because that does not include, the big box store that's at the south, and I can't remember what that one is.
Used to be Kohl's, but it's different now.
Right, I can't remember what it is, but anyway, it used to be Herberger's at one time, but it's not Herberger's anymore. But that $7 million value is just the mall, excluding that portion, too, just so you know. For the Hilltop.
For the Hilltop Mall.
Mhm.
Okay.
It doesn't include the big box store at the south end of the Hilltop Mall. And I wanna say there was $3 million on that when we looked at it. We're talking about our mall, but the Hilltop Mall, when we were looking at the value, it was just the mall portion excluding that big box store section. And I wanna say there was $3 million, just that.
Okay, good discussion. Any more discussion? Motion and a second.
Julie,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Wades.
Aye.
Okay, Joe.
Protest number 106, Terry Bannister, PI number 31035.0. It's Evans replat, south half of 13. And it's the south half of 3. They're asking that the land be reduced from $14,429 to $6,021. Buildings from $72,563 to $74,000. Should have read that earlier, so I know if that was a mistake or not. They're asking the buildings be reduced from oh, yeah, the land was the big reduction. They're asking the buildings that are currently at $72,503, they have a value in there of $74,898. They're asking that the total land of buildings be reduced from $86,992 to $80,919. Has pictures showing some cracked foundations and different conditions. It would be, I move to accept the testimony and evidence presented to the assessor to lower the valuation. The assessor's recommendation as follows. Leaving the land $14,429, but because the condition of the property giving a 5% functional depreciation for the total, and 15% for the foundation used in large issues and cracks throughout the house, would reduce the improvement value to $69,230. Total land and improvements from $83,659, number 7.
Second.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Protest number 233 is a protest that we heard on the 10th of July, and the numbers were entered incorrectly, so I am asking for that to be rescinded so we can
Okay,
redo it with the correct numbers.
motion to rescind.
I make a motion to rescind protest number 233 on property ID 0071785.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley. Wheeler.
Aye. Protest number 233, Donna Sundstrom at property ID 0071785. This is on 27.26 acres, part of the north half of section 8-12-28. Protested valuation $212,112. Asking for a reduction to $185,523. Reason, too much increase in 1 year. This was reviewed by both Julie and Henry. They changed the ag parcel. She owns adjoining ag land. After speaking with the taxpayer and reviewing information, removed 288 square foot of deck. There were holes in the deck, and I believe there are, well, maybe there's not pictures to support that.
Oh.
Value was written down.
Oh,
There is the calculations pages from the assessor's office to support, and a few pictures from the assessor's office. That puts the land at 70,967, and the buildings, and this is the amount that was incorrect previously, to $117,182 for a total, which we did have correct on the last one, for $188,149. My motion is it did not go before the referee, so I'm going to go with number 7. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley. Wheeler.
Aye.
Okay, on protest 253 of Mr. Earl Sayer, 514 East 12th Street, North Platte, property ID 535. That's a fairly low number. Again, this legal description is original town Hayes, spelled H-E-Y-E-S, subdivision block 28, the west 42 feet of 328, 1 TP. Mr. Sayer is protesting the valuation of $69,153, requesting $67,105. His reason is that my lot was cut down back in the 50s. The foundation was buried 3 feet deep, no footer. Has a ledge in the basement, floor is peeling, concrete 50-plus years is cracking. This did not go to the referee. Ashley, you reviewed this and you have made the comment that there's insufficient evidence to warrant a change. There are several photos of the exterior of the home, which looks quite nice, actually. but nothing of the inside that he is talking about. So I am going to agree with your assessment that this would be a no change. Number 2, I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time. No evidence was presented to warrant a change. Number 2, the land will still be at $9,195, improvements at $58 for a total of $69,153. Number 2 is my motion.
Did they have any photos or anything like that?
Exterior, no interior.
So would it be a 4 because of the photos? I'm just curious. If either one, I guess, doesn't really
It
matter.
could be, but there's no evidence.
Oh.
He's talking about interior
Oh, I'm
damage.
sorry, thank you
And we
very
didn't
much.
have those.
Thank you,
Number 2.
I
thank you.
second. Have any notes on, that's why they're confabbing.
Yeah.
Ames,
Aye.
Healy,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
All right.
Protest 394, parcel ID is 30771. Mr. Kanwar Sunny Galati. This is further described as North Platte Hospitality's first replat part of Lot 1, doing business as Ramada Inn. Physical address is 2102 South Jefferson Street, North Platte. The protested value is $7,812,375. The requested valuation reduction is $3,500,000. And again, those numbers are aggregates, not broken down to land and improvements buildings. Comment section says the value in 27 was lower than now, since the business and income has only gone down every year. The building itself is now about 60-year-old building, has only deteriorated. There was no referee requested, so Henry and Charity took a look at this. They consulted with Vanguard, according to their notes, and I'll just read exactly what's on their recommendation. After discussions with appraisers at Vanguard, we were advised to give the convention center and restaurant a 50% functional depreciation due to these types of properties becoming obsolete. And before I ask questions, I'll point out that based on that, the new value, the aggregate value would be $5,746,509 compared to $7,812,375. So Charity, when you say, when Vanguard's advising you of this, describe these types of properties. I'm not sure what's unique about this.
So you don't see very many hotels that have a restaurant, a convention center, you just don't see them going up. The way Bob at Vanguard explained it, he goes, those are sections of the building that are only used maybe Saturday and Sunday. You know, they might be used once in a while during the week, but you lose more money on those convention center portions than you do make money because they sit vacant. And he goes, that's why you just don't see them going up. They might have hotels that have small meeting rooms, but you don't see these big convention centers like this very often anymore. Obviously, in bigger cities you do, but where we don't have a huge need for them here in North Platte, we're just not gonna have that. And so they do a lot of reappraisals for counties, Vanguard does. And so he said for situations like this in a town of our size, this is what they've done in the past. And so we're just following their advice in this regard because we did get income from them. However, I feel like I was missing something or there was something included that should not have been. It wasn't as detailed as I had preferred it to be. Like all the cost of goods sold was all lumped into one thing. Well, what all does that include? I have no idea. And you try to get that from him and he's like, well, this is our P&L. Well, it's very, very
Well,
vague.
there's no for the record, there's nothing on this document that has any income
And
numbers.
they sent that all to me individually. If you wanna see that, I have that.
Not necessarily, but unless your recommendation's predicated on income, I don't know that we need to see
It's
it.
on the cost approach, yes.
Okay.
I did run the income approach. It was close to $3 million. So that's the right value, in my opinion. We have one sale of a convention center. It's the motel that's just south of the interstate at Grand Island. And that was sold for $6.5 million. So it's a little newer home
Okay,
and in a larger market. That might include some personal property in that sale too.
okay. Well, for the sake of discussion, I'm gonna make a motion and then we can open for, comments or questions, I guess. I would move to, and let me clarify one other thing. The land at 1,155,770, it currently is valued at that, correct? Yeah. 1,155,000 would be the land, and $770.
Did I have that wrong on there?
I don't know. Because it's not
1,155,770, yeah.
1,155,770. Okay. That's the land, you're recommending that, with your 50% functional depreciation, recommendation, the improvements would be, essentially would reduce the overall value, and that improvements would be 4,590,739. And the total value would be 5,746,509. That would you reviewed the property, so I guess to me it's a number 9. It doesn't mean you necessarily physically went out there, does it, Charity?
Yeah.
Just means you reviewed the property, and that's all I see. There is no additional evidence, so my motion would be number 9.
Second.
Hughley,
Aye.
Ruler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Dees.
Aye.
Just number 107, it's Bill and Carol Brennig. What? Oh, Breinig, okay, thank you. Parcel number 0072636.00.
What you got?
It's Shane
There's the
Administration
They just printed it wrong.
subdivision of part of
They
the
printed that one instead
south
of this one.
east quarter
She
of
just didn't fill in
311318.
total on what we had on
It's
That's what it
lot
is.
1
Thank you.
of 1.17 acres. They're asking that the total land and improvements be reduced from $106,113 to $96,600. About no improvements being made to the building, the outbuildings and barns are falling down, basement concrete's bad and cracking, and only have one bathroom. It would be my motion that move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time, as the evidence presented does not justify a change. Number 4, leaving the land at $35,105, improvements $71,008, for a total of $106,113.
Second.
Ruler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems,
Aye.
Hughley.
Protest 474, Carrie Cox and Stephen Marshall, 920 West B Street, ID 0027305.00. This is McDonald Place Edition 5-4. Protested value, $104,214. Requested value, $93,434. Driveway needs to be replaced and front porch needs to be replaced is the reason for their request. They did attach some supporting pictures. This was reviewed by Ashley. Her recommendation is no change, insufficient evidence to warrant a change. All Southside properties received a 1.16 adjustment for falling out of compliance with state mandated ratios. It did go before the referee, and Marcia agreed with Ashley's recommendation. My motion is number 5. I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor and the referee, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Okay, protest 369 of John and Michelle McFarland. Their address is in Phillips, Nebraska, but this is property on North Buffalo Road. Property ID is 62665. Legal description is part of the west half and southeast quarter of 5-14-30, 374.05 acres. This is at 8973 North Buffalo Road. They are protesting the valuation of $576,376, requesting $536,132. The reasoning is there have been no improvements made to the property and outbuildings to justify the increase in valuation. I have a letter attached here from.
That's 800 North Buffalo?
No.
89 this is the McCrone property up on
It's
north
of
of town.
Aldridge's.
62665.
62665, yes. I have a letter here from Julie Stinger that states the protest submitted is on an improved ag parcel located in Market Area 1. Market Area 1 is currently at 69% of market value based on sales within the current 3 years sales ratio period. Nebraska is currently a market value state, so I am unable to make adjustments based on production or income generated. Per Nebraska state statutes, I can only value based on required 3-year current sales. So and they do have some photos in here of the building, of the house and the outbuildings, and they look to be in decent or good repair. So I am going to agree with the county assessor's recommendation of no change. This will be number 4. I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change. The land will stay at $444,170. Buildings at $132,206 for a total valuation of $576,376. Number 4.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Woodruff.
All right.
Protest 342, parcel ID 37155. Also further described as part of Scott's replat number 8. The petitioner is Jacqueline Davis, and I believe the physical address is 2618 West 18th. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Protested value of the land, 11,520. The buildings at $161,019, and they did not enumerate the aggregate, but I penciled it in for them and initialed it. And that number is $172,539 currently. They requested the land stay at $11,520, but the buildings be reduced to $133,000 for a total of $144,520. The comments section includes hot tub in several buildings removed, patio cement damaged, siding on the house and garage damaged, unfinished basement, outdated kitchen cabinets, countertops and flooring, damaged front door, outdated and mismatched three-quarter bathroom cabinets and flooring, window trim coming apart. Ms. Davis did present a number of very vivid color photographs, both of the exterior and interior, referencing basically the condition. Henry reviewed, and his comment is such: after reviewing the taxpayer's information, I changed the condition to normal. So he recommends the land to stay at the 11,520, the buildings be reduced to 149,947, value of 161,467, and this, to me, could either be a 7 or an 8, but he mentions conditions specifically, so my motion's gonna be number 8.
And can't say talk to her, she agreed to that value, so.
She did.
Why she canceled the.
So that's,
referee.
yes, and I made a note of that on the thing, that she did cancel the referee review, because she did confab with you, and she's good with that. Okay, number 8's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Hughley,
Aye.
Ruler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
It's all right, all right.
Protest number 476. Stephen Marshall and parentheses Connie Cox. It's property number 003108.0. Read it off the card, I think might be able to read it better. Apologize. Well, I'm gonna make an attempt here. Is it Pankin and replat of Bratton Goodman 8 and 9, Lot 1? Okay, they're asking the total land improvements be reduced from $102,313 to $91,733. Talk about roof leaks, foundation leaks, fence needs replaced, and it is, they provided a number of pictures. This did also go before the referee. I would move that after testimony and evidence presented to both the assessor and referee, to move the value to the assessor's new recommendation as follows. Land, $15,469. Buildings, $73,820 for a total of $89,289, and that's giving they changed the condition to normal and applied a 10% functional depreciation for the foundation and water issues. That would be a number 10.
Second.
Ruler,
Aye.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Protest 475, Stephen Marshall and Carrie Cox at property ID 0034-060.00. This is for property located at 1009 East 5th Street, Riverdale Edition 92. Protested value $78,393. Requested value $70,283. Reason for request: house had a fire in 2019, sustained significant smoke damage and structural damage in the walls by back door. Floors were damaged by water. They have pictures that support that request. It was reviewed by Henry. After reviewing taxpayer information, he applied 15% functional depreciation for the fire and the water damage. It did go to the referee, and Marcia agreed with Henry. That puts the land at 6,403, buildings at 63,756, for a total of 70,159. My motion is number 7, after testimony and evidence presented to the assessor and referee, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation.
That might be number 10.
I did say 10. I wrote 10. I'm not sure what I was reading.
You read 10.
I read 10. Are we about done yet?
Second.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Weems,
Aye.
Hughley,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah,
Aye.
exactly.
You wrote it twice.
I did write it.
Protest number 395 of Mr. Robert Harper. His address is Rockwall, Texas, but this is actually property on South Carr Street. The identification number is 37435, Schultz's replat 2-1-1115 South Carr. They are protesting the valuation of $291,555, requesting $261,393. They state that the house is outdated and in disrepair. Broken windows, frames, water damaged walls, hole in ceiling, outdated with no upgrades or improvements in 15 years. They make those statements, but I don't see any photos of those damages. I see some photos of the exterior of the home on South Carr. It looks very nice. No photos of the interior damage that he speaks of. So, and this was, he did ask for a meeting with the referee, but that never did happen. Either wasn't scheduled, never called to schedule it. So, Charity, you elected to go with no change, insufficient evidence to warrant a change, and I would have to agree with you in that regard. So, again, I'm going to, this is number 2, I move to accept the recommendation of assessor, which indicates no change at this time. No evidence was presented to warrant a change, number 2.
Second.
Discussion.
And I should, let me finish this here, I forgot to add, land will be valued at $23,119, improvements at $268,436, for a total of $291,555. Yes, sir.
You know, with the other people, we've always given the benefit of the doubt when they've asked to see the referee, and we thought, well, maybe it was a mistake on our part. Is there a way that we can check to see if the note was written on when we received it, that they would like to see a referee, right? So how do we reconcile that, you know, with Tyler? You gotta give him the benefit of the doubt for,
Got a couple of those today that requested and then withdrew.
and it, you know, it wasn't listed as a no-show. Should we attempt to try to call Mr., what's his name?
Harper?
Harper at this time? It's a question. I think it would be fair to do what we
It would-
did
it
with
would-
the other people.
It would be nice to know if he changed his mind and elected not to come in front of the referee. I do have a phone number here that is a local number.
Well.
Who made the note? Who made the note that was no referee? So
Well-
somebody had a conversation with him, or?
I did, and then he never set up a time. And then I
But-
brought the paperwork down here on the 11th, when Marshall was here, and just in case he showed up at a time, and he never did.
He was never assigned a time?
No.
that
He was
the deal?
assigned a day of
He wanted to
7-11.
talk to the assessors and stuff like that, and then never made a time.
But
Well, yeah,
he doesn't make the time.
Yeah, we do.
We schedule the
When
time.
he files, that's when those are scheduled with the clerk's office. If it's mailed in, then they have to actually call him and schedule a time with him.
Oh, but they brought it in and he didn't make one at that
I
time?
don't know
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that's what happened?
Yes.
Okay, and that's typically,
I can call him, I don't have an issue with him.
let's do that. Is that okay? That way at least we're consistent and as Tyler says, well, that due process thing, you know.
Yeah. Best to be safe.
So should we just hold on that and continue, Mr. Chairman? Is that how you want to proceed?
I think that's probably a reasonable way to approach that.
Well, she's tied
Or,
up
I
with the
guess
phone.
she's calling right now.
She's tied
Oh,
up.
I apologize.
Give her a couple minutes and
Yeah.
fire away.
Because I have three for Mr. Harper, and it would be nice to know on all three of them.
Well, you know, while we have a temporary break, I'm gonna excuse myself for 1 second if I might.
Okay, that'd be fine. Oh, Kent, you missed something yesterday, pretty dramatic. Yesterday was Charity's birthday, and we sang to her,
You did?
and she got very red-faced.
And she came back
About this
today?
red, it's about this red.
Yeah, it was about that red, yes, it was.
I'm surprised she came back after you sang.
Well, I had some help.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go check to see if Tyler's there.
Yeah.
Snow in the clerk's office. Okay, all right, thank you.
Hold it. Even though Marcia's available. When did she get married? July. July?
I don't remember when she told me.
Oh, man.
Well, not yet, anyway.
Hey, Henry, when you get one, give me one.
Okay.
Where are we going?
My brother used to run around with her,
Marcia Tree.
with Marcia. She was in the
Oh,
class.
that's okay.
Oh.
Like the message. I don't remember. Is it contractor?
Oh, I know. Oh, my God. Oh, yes. I put my foot in my mouth.
Not before. Guess it was always the first time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oops, recess. Need for a potty break.
Dude,
Get hold of me.
Are we off?
Shouldn't have ate that donut yesterday, I almost didn't fit through there.
Whitney, the last one, so I didn't have one yesterday.
Did leave a message.
She did leave a message.
Yeah, she left a message with him.
So he calls about 4 o'clock on the 25th, and we still have to try to get him. Oh no, we gotta figure this out later, because that's kind of ridiculous.
Tyler will be here shortly on another matter.
You hope not.
Tyler is gonna be laying down that job description he put together yesterday for you to look at.
Oh, okay. Good. I have that.
He put some legalese in it.
I have rudimentary one.
He wants to, he'll be present with us.
Oh, good. Good.
His exact words was, these two gentlemen have probably forgotten more than I ever thought about it, so we may want to put some more information in there based on our conversations with them. But, did you see,
It went up, it was like $10, but it was pretty good.
this document? Start retirement, yeah.
Well, you alluded to it, but I did not see it. So we're gonna talk about this as well.
My son grows like, I don't know, half an acre over at Mabel's
And Tyler?
in the whole neighborhood.
We have a
We get
question for
together
you.
and process
We
it.
had to fill all
It's
that,
delicious.
There's three
Do that. My
protests.
family used to do it when my grandparents lived north of, or north of
One was set
Alex
up
said something
for
about next year, she
7-Eleven.
wanted to do that again, and we used to go
B,
to,
but no time was set.
Pierre's,
It didn't show
uh,
at all.
on the north side of town, and
Yep.
he's
He
friends
was
with my
scheduled.
grandpa and family, and when I
That
was
sounds
in
like his
high
tough luck.
school, we would go and pick it for youth
He
group.
shows a Rockwell, Texas.
Talking about the one that lives west up on the river, or which one?
So,
Just right north of like Madison, just
That's still
right
his
there,
problem.
I can't think of his
And I
name
don't
from
remember,
here,
I think,
but, yeah, when I was in middle school, we used to go and pick it.
I thought he emailed his, yeah, he did.
Pick it,
He
yeah.
emailed his evaluation.
And then we'd get part of it,
so
not
we're gonna
pick it,
proceed
but
on.
pick the corn.
Oh,
So why
I didn't know what you're talking about. I didn't
If
know
you had a date set, you'd absolutely nothing to follow up on.
No, you said pick it. I didn't know pick it what.
On his thing, he made
Oh.
left a message.
a
Yeah,
request,
that was,
Pick it.
but never set up a
You can
time.
hear it here,
was that
Pick it.
Jared?
that's the next level,
Stop.
if
Might have
that's
been
what was
Jared.
filed, but,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
no, I mean, if you missed the boat, you missed the boat. That's all there is to it.
Okay. We're gonna proceed, thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Okay, I was at, protest 396.
No, that's not right. 395.
You want Tammy?
395,
395.
just a minute. How do I get forward?
Want me to ask Tammy to step in?
Sure.
I thought we were gonna do this.
I didn't make any plans this morning. Usually this is how it goes. If there's a big pile, we get, but when there's very few,
It's fine if it's gone.
Let's just take it to see.
Okay,
Thank you.
we took a break due to some information, making sure that this protester had ample time to see the referee if he wished to, and it appears as though that attempt was not made by the individual making the protest. So we will resume. I had entered in protest number 395 from Mr. Robert Harper. This is actually property on 1115 South Carr. I've entered the information and I've entered my motion of number 2. I move to accept the recommendation which indicates no change at this time. No evidence was presented to warrant a change. Those values, $23,119 on land improvements at $268,436 on the improvements, total of $291,555. Number 2 is my motion.
Second again.
Weems,
Aye.
I'd just like to read in for the record, Mr. Chairman, if we can, that even the clerk tried to contact Mr. Harper, kind of as a,
Courtesy.
yeah, so, thank you. Sorry for interrupting. My-
Healy,
I,
aye.
Woodruff.
All right, thank you.
Protest 371, ID, parcel ID is 42895. 42895. Described as Ted subdivision, lot 8. Physical address is 2215 East E here in North Platte. Petitioner is Sheila M. Alvarez. The picture from the assessor's card shows what I assume is a single wide trailer on a parcel of land.
Protesting only be on the land, she doesn't own the mobile.
Understand, but I'm just for the record saying, because there is just a land value of $6,983 protested and request reduction to $6,020 for just the land, $6,020. Comments from Ms. Alvarez, I don't feel like I should be this value, no sidewalks, no driveway. Henry looked at this and recommends no change, information provided is not warranted change. There really wasn't any information provided in my view. There was, the only photograph, these are all county assessors' photographs. So my motion is no change, number 2. So the land would remain at $6,983.
Second.
Healy,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Protest number 477, Joseph K. Burke. PI number 0028080.00. Lot of zeros. It's McGrain's Valley View Addition. It's a replat of 1/2. They're asking that the land remain the same at 13,584, buildings be reduced from 95,886 to 48,416, total land improvements from 109,470 to 62,000. They did see the referee. The comments were, I tried to sell realtor. What?
Burke.
Joseph Burke. Yeah, Burke purchased it, looked like in 18. Oh, no, that's when there must have been a split. I think it must have been divorce. They talk about, tried to sell to Realtor Epler with Caldwell Banker, got no offer of 62,000. The least I could take was 72,000, but no offer came. You know, looking at it, if you look at the property, it looks like it's in a good neighborhood. It's not a bad looking property. They did see a referee. The referee is agreeing with the assessor of no change, and I would move to accept the recommendation of both the assessor and referee, which indicates no change at this time, as no evidence presented to warrant a change. Number 3.
Second.
Oh, yeah, I already read in the mouth, so if I don't have to read them again, thank you.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Protest 339, Tony Perez at 2921 West 20th, ID 34600.00. Protested valuation 81,140, requesting a lower valuation of 73,168. Reason for request, I believe it says revived statute 77.77-201. No recent updates on house or outer structures. County has to prove tax increase and follow state guidelines and law. County cannot base valuation on other homes. June 19th, 2023. This was reviewed by Henry, and his recommendation is no change. Evidence provided does not warrant a change. There were no pictures attached of the home other than the ones from the assessor's office. That puts the land at 21,694, buildings at 59,446, for a total of 81,140. It is going to be my motion, because I believe that our county assessor's office and Julie's team does follow state statute. Number 4, I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change.
Second.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Ruler.
Aye.
Okay, protest number 396. This again is from Mr. Robert Harper, address in Texas, but it's actually property here in North Platte at 1610 West D Street. This is property ID 21257. They are protesting the valuation of $161,449, requesting $144,747. I didn't give you the legal, did I? Probably because I'm not sure I can read all of this. Homan's first replat, A, C-O-N-S, consists of subdivisions, consolidation of subdivision C, F20, and Homan Addition 3, and part of VAC, would that be vacated alley, lot 1. Their reason for the protest is no updates or improvements have been made in 15 years. The house is in lesser state of repair compared to others in the neighborhood and more outdated. Again, got some pictures of the external of the house, and since they don't mention anything about internal in their protest, I think I will concur with Charity that there is insufficient evidence to warrant a change, and this would then be a number 4. I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change. And I should note again, as I did on his last protest that I did, there was an initial request to see a referee, but a time was never set, and we did make an attempt a short while ago to call Mr. Harper. No success, so we are going to move on. So this is a no change. Number 4, the land will stay at $18,543, improvements at $142,906, for a total of $161,449. Again, number 4.
Second.
Weems.
Aye.
Hughley.
Aye.
Ruler.
Aye.
Woodruff.
All right.
Protest 299, property ID is 85660, 85660. Petitioner is Mr. George Jenkins. The property is further described as part of the east half of the northeast quarter, part of Tract A, also known as Tract A-1, in Section 34, Township 13, Range 31, 9.25 acres. Protested land value, $49,750. Building values current, $325,482, for a total current value of $375,232. The requested change was no changes to the land at $49,750, but a reduction of the buildings to $285,482, and an aggregate reduction value of $335,232. Comments: 1 main building removed in 2022, building roof caving in, house and deck deteriorating, barn roof needs replaced. Mr. Jenkins presented Ashley with a number of color photographs of the condition of the property, and also what essentially looks like a weedy lot where one of the buildings was removed. Ashley's comments: I removed this 2016 pole barn building as it is gone and changed the condition on the 2016 steel building or steel utility building to below normal condition. And I will have to say the pictures warrant probably a reduction in condition. It's very dilapidated. actually would leave the land at 49,750, but reduce the improvements to 319,993 for a total value 369,743. I will concur with her recommendation, and my motion will be number 10.
Second.
Hughley,
Aye.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Woodruff.
Aye.
Williams.
Protest number 397, Robert Harper, parcel number, property identification number, I should say, 0003280.0.
Yeah, he did.
It's original town of North Platte, the north half of 1, District 109. They're asking total land improvements be reduced from $34,818 to $31,215. Said the siding, the windows and doors, cabinets, etc., are in serious need of disrepair. Within the comment, though, there was really no evidence indicating those items. I want to also note that Mr. Harper appears to have requested a referee appearance. We have tried to contact Mr. Harper with no success. And so I would make a motion number 4 to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time as the evidence presented does not warrant a change.
Second.
Wheeler,
Aye.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hughley.
Protest 377, Faye Herndon at 129 East North River Road, property ID 0061805.00, Listers subdivision, west 132.26 feet of the east half. Section 211430 West, Lincoln County. Protested valuation, a total of $171,166, requesting it be lowered for a total valuation of $146,936. Reasons for request: cracked foundation, water and crawl space under house, junkyard next door. See attached photos. There are several attached photos which do support his request. It was reviewed by Henry, and Henry clarified that there is already a 10% functional depreciation being applied for the foundation and water issues. Therefore, no change is recommended. That puts the land at $48,500, buildings at $122,666, for a total of $171,166. My motion is number 4. I move to accept the recommendation of the assessor, which indicates no change at this time. Evidence presented does not warrant a change.
Second.
Woodruff,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Hughley,
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye.
Okay, we have one protest that I think is incomplete. That would be protest number 175. Is that correct, or have we finished that one up?
We have not finished that.
Okay. Okay, so protest 175, this is for Mr. Michael Piccolo, 415 South Maloney Drive, property ID is 87680. Legal is lot 165 at Lake Maloney. They are protesting the valuation of $563,377, requesting $468,000, and he is saying see the attachment, and he has a fairly significant letter attached here. The main part I should mention is his comments are, this is not a typical residential property. The A-frame consists of 1 bedroom, 2 baths, 1 closet, and a loft that is under 200 square feet. This is a 1950 cabin with an addition in the 1970s. which we have repaired. The resident represents at best an inflexible architectural design which, due to its design features, provided only limited living space. Such a structure would appeal to a very select market. It is also not a typical residence located at the lake. Ashley, you reviewed this. You changed the year build on the boathouse to 1950, but condition to very good. And the photos of that support very good. That is a very nice looking structure that they have remodeled.
This is what it used to look like,
Okay,
and this is what it looks like now.
really,
Yes.
Nice improvement.
nice improvement.
That's why I changed the date back, but Charity and I agreed on the version of the condition.
But you still came up with a lower value than what was original
Yes, because
value.
we also changed the year on.
The pergola
the pergola.
to 2017.
Yes.
So there is a lowering of the assessment of about $8,000, not near what he had requested, but there is a reduction. So, Mr. Piccolo did not come and speak in front of the board. He has not made an appointment. He has not.
His attorney came and talked to me that one day, and he made mention that the loft was only 200 square foot in his letter, and I said, if he can get me dimensions, I can certainly change that. I've heard nothing since that day from Steve, so.
Okay, okay, thank you for that information. So with that in mind, I am tending to agree with the assessor's recommendation. After testimony and evidence presented to the assessor, I move to lower the valuation to the assessor's recommendation. Land is at zero, obviously being at the lake, but the improvements and total valuation would be $555,922. This would be a number 7.
Second.
Weems,
Aye.
Hughley,
I'm gonna abstain because I've been asked by Mr. Piccolo to look at that particular project, so I will abstain.
Aye.
Woodruff.
All right. Okay, what else do you have for the Board of Equalization?
Nothing.
Julie?
Everything that we had pulled. What we are aware of, right?
You mean that might mean we're,
Don't say it.
they took my words out of my mouth, no. Well, while we're waiting to see if any other proceed here, I think there's some comments I want to make. Melissa, I want to thank you for being here. You came last year and sat and witnessed, and you came again this year. I'm not sure why, but I'm glad you did.
Thank you.
And I think it's very important that we note the extra hours that you have put in this project, before our sessions and after our sessions. Thank you for that dedication. Julie, County Assessor, you and your crew have been exceptional help to us on this board.
Thank you.
Myself in particular. Tremendous amount of professionalism and knowledge that you have helped to the folks that have been protesting and to us as well. I'm pretty certain that most of the folks that received that yellow card didn't do a lot of backflips and hurrahs with the information they received, and you probably fielded some personal visits and also some calls that might have been a little tenuous at times, but
Could have been.
I would like to make note of the fact that you folks have handled those in a very professional way. We're very fortunate to have you folks working on the taxpayers' behalf.
Thank you. I have a good staff, I feel, right now, and my appraisers are always taking the continuing education classes, so I do want, I guess, the everybody to know, the public to know that they do try to stay updated on the state statutes change constantly, and, you know, we've heard from the taxpayers, you know, we'd still like to see some changes maybe coming up the road. So this is not an easy process, and I am thankful that they are willing to take these classes and go and learn, and as we all do, and my other staff in the office too are very well trained to deal with the public. So I have girls at the counter that even field them off, that they don't even have to go back and talk to the appraisers because they are well enough versed in what goes on in our office that they can kind of explain the process too. So I feel very fortunate right now. I do have a good staff in place.
I would concur, and being here for these sessions, I think you all would agree, those folks have made tremendous number of trips back and forth across that hall when we needed more information, some clarification,
Some education.
some education, not only for the individual protests here, but also when folks were here in the room. And we have given them plenty of time. We've tried to stick with a 15-minute time frame, but that never holds up because there's always questions and things that we need to discuss. I should also note that if protesters are not satisfied with the decisions made by this board, they have the opportunity to file an application with TERC, which is Tax Equalization Review Commission. So if someone is not satisfied with the results that have been rendered by this board, get a hold of your office, correct? For that.
We don't actually have the applications in our office. They can find them online, the Turk's website. I suppose if they came in, we could help them find them and stuff,
Okay.
but yeah.
So there is recourse if you're not completely satisfied. Next, I want to thank my board members here.
I think it's 30 days after it's been, your decision's been made.
August 24th, it looks like, I think, is gonna be the very
That's-
last day
that's
that the
on
taxpayer
being applied to
can
TERC.
file
Okay,
to TERC.
thanks for that. But I want to thank my board members here that have made this process go fairly well. Sometimes we're not in agreement, which is good.
And that's okay.
Which is fine, because we've had some great discussions, and I think we have done, to the best of our ability, we have equalized this as well as we can. We are a board of equalization, not a board of arbitrary and capricious actions. And I think that's something that is very important to understand. And last but not least, I want to thank our board assistant, Tammy White, for all of the assistance she has given us and the streaming that's available so the public can catch what is happening here. I still don't see any other protests show up here in front of me. Good time coming to an end. All good things come to an end, don't they?
And
So,
I wanna say thank you to you guys too, because, I think you've asked some very good questions, and with the new members, it's nice to see that you guys really want to learn and want to understand what we do and why we do what we do. It's hard to swallow sometimes. We don't like it any better than taxpayers do sometimes, but.
Well, I believe you guys are all taxpayers also.
We are,
And
we
it's
are.
my sense that you truly get it. And we are blessed to have you and your team that you have selected and trained.
Thank
And it shows that you guys truly have the heart of Lincoln County in what you do. So thank you.
Try. But like I said, we do appreciate you guys trying to understand that and asking the right questions to, maybe so the taxpayers understand it. Sometimes we do it long enough, you know, sometimes you talk above people, and so it's hard for us to get them to understand, but I think you guys have asked some really, really good questions this year to help maybe the taxpayers to understand the process too a little bit better.
yeah, I think it speaks well to our intent to be as accommodating to the taxpayers as possible and to be as fair and equitable as we can be as well, because we're all taxpayers as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
In our office too, for all their extra help.
yeah, your staff has been very helpful for you behind the scenes, I'm certain as well. And That's been very well,
They'll be excited to have me back in there.
and you'll be excited not to be with us.
Well, I don't know. Depends on the day.
Okay, well, at 10:55, I will adjourn the Lincoln County Board of Equalization, and we will not be meeting tomorrow morning at 9 as previously published because we do not have any other protests to review.